Hello, it's Dervin here, and just a bit of an update on what I've been working on. What you can see here is Bocage Mark II. So this down here is like the original one. So it's basically an upgrade to these. So what I did was, with these, I sort of ripped off all the clump foliage and the lichen and pulled off those rocks. And then just with my fingers I sort of ripped out some chunks along the way, and then glued in some smaller rocks along the sides. I did that on both sides, and then across the top I added some mat. It's just the doormat stuff. Do I have a chunk of it here somewhere? Yep, just the normal doormat. This is one that I've using for something else, and glued that on top, painted it green, sort of PVA'd the top and dipped it in some flock. You can sort of see there, just to give it a bit, just to break up the texture a little bit on top. Then I glued all of the clump foliage and everything that I ripped off earlier back on top, and just to, you can see across the top there it's a bit rough, it's not as uniform, and I'm really happy actually with how these turned out. Now I did this because when I took the photos of the road last week with the bocage beside it, I sort of noticed that the Tetrarch and the Jeep were basically higher than the hedgerows, and I really wanted the hedgerows to be higher than them, or just higher, so they would block a line of sight. So you can sort of see the difference if I can hold these up together, is that there's nope, maybe there we go. I can hold them up there and you can see that there is it's a good bit higher basically than what they previously were. So I've done about 6 or 7, so I've got to work my way through. My tank is out of reach, but I've got one of my arches here that I'm working on, and you can see it's basically higher than a man, and in places a fair bit higher. So I'm really happy with these actually. It's not too hard, and it's sort of really just taking them to that next level. So yeah, I've done maybe a meter's worth, and I've got another 3 meters to go, but it doesn't take too long. Hot glue gun really speeds it up. The other thing I want to quickly show is some more roads, of course. I know there's been a lot of roads lately, but these are slightly different. These are the ones that are going to go up next to the houses. So they've got a bit of I've got a footpath and a gutter. I'm not happy with these two, but I'll talk about that in a second. But I just thought I'd show. You can see that there's a little bit of elevation change there. Just that ridge of the gutter line. This side it's not as high, but it still works. Now the reason I'm not happy with these two is basically the material I used. This is a cheap builder's bog. It's not the one I first used. You can see this is the one I first used was a pinky colour, and it's actually called builder's bog. I have no idea what this one was called, but it was terrible to work with. The first one, which is this one, was I didn't mix in enough hardener, so it took actually days to go really hard, but I still could pull that out of the mold after about an hour, but it took days, and it's just really rough on top, and it actually stuck to the mold I made. It took a while to clean it, and it still was quite difficult to push in. You can see there's quite a few air bubbles here, and it was difficult to get a consistent thickness. This isn't too bad, but I've also done a fair bit of sanding to it as well. This one here I mixed in more hardener, but too much, and it went hard really quickly. Lots more air bubbles because I couldn't work it into the mold fast enough, and it's got some bows in it that I cannot straighten, which isn't good, and both of these had issues at the end, so I had to trim them. Now the problem I've got is with the way that I made this, you can see, yeah, this way around, that was pretty lucky, this way around they line up, right? But if I flip this one around, they don't. So it's lined up down the bottom there, and you can see they're out at the top. And this one has the same problem because I had to trim bits off the end. Now the reason this is like this is because I made these not straight, and so if you, it's a sort of a problem with the technique I've used, that, you know, if you don't get it right and you've got to trim them, it's not good. So, oh, but I still painted it up because I wanted to see what they look like. But while I was doing that, if you can see this white thing, I only pulled it out of the mold this morning, I think. And this is one that was done in the gap filler into the same mold. So it takes about 4 days to dry, but you get a lot more time to work it in. So I got a much better mold. There's some lines, but that's actually in my mold, so I can fix them afterwards. But the advantage of this is I could use the full thing, and if we line it up with the right end, it's actually the same width at either end, which is really good. So I'm pretty happy actually with doing this. I may just go with gap filler. Problem is it's going to take quite a few weeks to make everything I want. I need at least 10 sections of this, but I still need to design T sections. What else do I need to do? I need to do 2 sections. I need to do curves for the other bits, maybe even some Y sections just for the normal road, not for this. I'm just going to keep T sections and cross sections with the footpath. I'm not going to do any curves. So that's where I'm at. I need to paint more miniatures is actually the thing that I need to do. So I've got to keep pumping out these, but that's okay. That doesn't actually take a lot of time. I've just put some fresh ones in the mold there, and it took about 10 minutes, and that's because I was mucking around. So yeah, well, I've got to paint some more miniatures because I want to buy some more. So you know the story, that's how it works with this. Anyway, have fun, keep hobbying, and I'll talk to you next time.